So to get into Thaumcraft, first we're going to need two things. One, we're going to need a wand. To make a wand, you first need technically 10 ingots, but since there's no way of getting 10 ingots without, breaking down 2 caps, you're actually going to have some extra there. And you're going to get the caps, which, if you didn't see it, it's just like an upside down U of iron caps. I think it's actually shapeless, so you could probably put them upside down. Nope, okay. So, top and bottom, or if you wanted to move everything down, that works too. But then you take the caps, put them on either side of a stick, and you now have the ironwood wooden wand. Now, the wands recharge differently in this game. So, well, because we're now using Thaumcraft 5 and not Thaumcraft 4. What I mean is that you just start holding it. If you take a look up there in the top left, it shows you all the different meters, and it will start recharging all of them automatically. You don't need to find a node. But I should point out that you can still drain the node just like you could in Thaumcraft 4. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, each node is made up of certain aspects. You got 6 of them up there in the top right. Sorry, top left. And if you drain the node too much, it has a chance of losing one of those aspects permanently. Same thing happens here. So I'm going to take that off for the moment. Actually, I guess I'm going to need it. Because the other thing you need to get started in Thaumcraft is the Thaumonomicon. And in order to get that, take a wand, doesn't matter how charged it is, just right click on a bookshelf. And you had yourself a Thaumonomicon. Not sure why that was kind of see-through, but whatever. The Thaumonomicon is where you're really going to need stuff for Thaumcraft. Because this is how you unlock everything. It's kind of like a puzzle of sorts. So, if it is round like this, that means you need to have paper in order to get it. And then you need to do the minigame. You got different tabs over here. If it is hexagon like this, that means you just need to have experience levels, and then with one click, bam, you're done. But like I said, there is multiple tabs, and I can tell you there are tabs that you cannot see right now. Or correction, I can't see right now. We'll get to that later. This is the arcane bellows I was telling you about. Let's just grab that since we got it. And once you have it, you can open up an entry on it. It'll tell you the crafting recipe, and it'll explain what you need. Now keep in mind that the arcane, or most of the stuff in Thaumcraft, uses an arcane workbench, which is not the same thing as the one I've been using. It's not the same thing as any of the ones, actually. So we actually need to make 2 tables real quick. And to get that, we need some slabs, 2 on the bottom, table. Woo! Okay. 1 and 2. And what we're going to do is with 1, we're going to set our wand on top of it. That changes it into the arcane workbench. This looks really complicated. It's really not. You need a wand up there in the top right, and it'll show you your capacity of your different aspects later. I should probably explain aspects. Give me a moment. And then you'll have your normal crafting grid. And as you put things in there that make a crafting recipe, these circles light up with the different aspects in your wand, and you need so many aspects in order to make it. So if I go back to the Thaumonomicon and to the billows, I would need, 4 planks, leather, an air shard, and iron. And then these 2 would light up, so I would need 25 air and 10 oro. Not that hard to make. But basically what the billows is it works on making anything that's charcoal can power work faster. If applicable, it also makes it reduce the amount of flux that's involved. But you can also just put it on your normal furnace. I think it does slightly increase the fuel costs. Nope, I guess not. So it just increases their speed overall. So let's see here. The other thing we're going to need to get started, we're going to need some glass, we're going to need some feathers, and we're going to need, well, you'll normally need ink sacs, but it looks like the graphite will work for me, so I'll just use that hub since I don't want to be bothered with the inventory space. And you just take some glass, you take a feather, and you take some graphite. Okay, oops, got an extra bottle there. But that gave me 2 different scribing tools. You can get away with 1. I like having 2. And just like with the wand, you put one on the table, and you now have a research table. And like I said, you can get away with 1. You can pull it out, put it back in your inventory, whatever. But you can't get started researching things unless you have a scribing tool in your inventory. Oh, hello, Mr. Creeper. You need a scribing tool in your inventory. It doesn't have to be on your bar. And you need paper in your inventory. Then with the Thaumonomicon, you can open it up. And whenever you click on something, say Research Expertise, a very good one to get, by the way. Oh, by the way, these ones require you to do the little mini game to unlock. These ones do 2, but do you see how that says Forbidden Knowledge there? If I actually research that one, which I will, I'm actually going to go slightly insane. See, that one says mostly harmless, so that's not so bad. But if I go down to the Infernal Furnace, that says minor, which is the next step up. Still not bad, not great though. But you gotta look for anything with that glowing purple border. So I click on that, and it'll say that I already have the note in my inventory. So I go to the research table, and there's the note. I took one of my papers, I took a little bit of ink, put it in there. And this is where the game begins. Now, those of you who are familiar with Thaumcraft, you're going to need to kind of relearn the aspects because some of them have been taken out, some combined in different ways now. So, as with always, if you ever have questions on what aspects are, go to your book, and this little section here on the first tab is very good at explaining the basics of Thaumcraft. For example, it has new enchantments. And these can be applied with any normal enchanting table. It also has like the different plants and trees. See, there's the cinder pearl I mentioned earlier. Has the great woods, silver woods. The silver woods are the ones you really want, but I think you need the great woods as kind of a stepping stone. It has information on the pecs, which are confusing at first, but they're basically traders if you figure out how to use them. Here are the aspects. This is the information about the nodes and everything. I'll kind of explain that here in a moment. Warp flux and all things bad. Good idea to know. Warp is the thing that drives me slightly insane. Flux is kind of like a magical poison. As I do things magically, I pollute the atmosphere, and it might start converting areas into a flux zone, and flux areas actually start spreading outwards. So you could cause, like I could cause this entire mountainside to be tainted, and anything that steps on taint start taking damage. If you lose all your life, you die, period. And I think you become I think your corpse becomes a slime. But other monsters that, well, even friendly mobs, if a pig dies on there, they become tainted and they will start attacking you. They also become much tougher. And there's other things that are like that too. Some of them gain special abilities too, like chickens tainted chickens are really fast and a real big pain in the rear to take down. Fortunately, they're not as tough as some of the others, but whatever. And tainted sheep don't directly attack you normally, but what they do is they will go around munching on grass like they normally would, but whenever they eat grass, they'll just barf up taint and spread the taint even faster than it does normally on itself. And there's also things like tainted grass and tainted trees actually will generate things that will attack you too. So taint is all sorts of bad. So let's see here. Let's wait for this to catch up for a moment. I notice this sometimes happens with a thumbnail gun. I'm not sure why. There we go. So let me back out of this real quick and take a look at the ones we need. We need cognitio, which is mind, memory, and cognition. We need senses, and we need ordo. Ordo is one of the prime ones. Nothing makes ordo. That's the reason why we have it over here. Part of this minigame is combining things to meet the others. So if I take a look, this goes into basic examples here. The primal aspects are the ones that charge your wand. They're also the ones that make the other aspects. The compound aspects are made of two other aspects, possibly other compound aspects. So you got kind of a little pyramid scheme going on there. For example, alienus is made out of vacuous and tenebrae. I can tell you vacuous is air and entropy, and tenebrae is entropy and light, which in turn is air again and fire, or ignis, I guess it's technically called. So cognito is made out of fire and spiritus. So I don't think fire is going to work for what we got. Sensus is also made out of spiritus. So let's take a look at spiritus. That is victus, which is water and earth, and death, which is water and entropy. The other one we had was ordo. So if we take entropy and mix that with ordo, we now have a link. And I'll show you what I mean here in a moment. First, we need to make spiritus. We'll need to make two of them. So we'll take death. This is not going to give us a whole lot of options here, but okay, so no, death in the water. That makes mortis, which is death. Sorry, entropy in water. Gives us death, or mortis. Water and earth gives us life. Life and death gives us spiritus. Now the way this works is cognitio is made out of spiritus. So we place spiritus next to it, and it draws a line to it. It will also light it up. If we were to put something else, like fire here, for example, we're not going to use. So if we put fire there, it's grayed out. It's not its normal color. So we know it's not going to work, or nothing's connecting to it. So we take the other soul and put that back there. And spiritus was death and life, and we want entropy, so we'll put water and entropy together. That gives us death. Now you see how we ran out of water? Nothing makes water. Once you run out of a prime element, there is no way of replenishing these. So if you run out of the aspects you need, you might as well throw this away, because there's no way to gain that aspect back. That's useless. You failed the challenge. Sorry, just the way it is. But we now have death, which was entropy and water, so we'll just use entropy here. and the other one was entropy and order, so that will give us permutatio, which means exchange or barter. And then we had that there because that was made out of ordo and entropy. It connects. You'll know you're done because everything stops glowing, there's no more hexes, and this turns into a little scroll. You take that out and use it, and we now have research expertise. This is a good one to have right away. You can become much more efficient at performing research. Whenever you remove an aspect that is placed inside a hex, there's a 25% chance that aspect will not be taken away from your total. This is actually very useful. You are also able to see what aspects you need to combine to create over the aspect you're hovering over. Also really useful. Lastly, it gives you a knowledge fragment, or the ability to consume a knowledge fragment to add a point to each primal. I'm honestly not sure what that means because I've tried that and I have not managed to get that to work yet. Maybe it's something he's working on. But that unlocks the next one, which is that forbidden knowledge. And I'd like to point out, if you take a look up here, it says basic information, 33%. That means I've unlocked one. There's one more here, so that will put us up to 66%. That means there's one more out here somewhere that's not being shown yet. You will find that quite commonly, actually. So, like this one, we had 3% because we unlocked this one with XP. All this other stuff we still need to unlock, and there might be a few hidden ones here. In fact, I'm reasonably sure there are. So, two other important ones to get. Actually, I'm going to grab some more paper and then we can work on three of them real quick. Actually, YouTube, I'm going to just do this real. Now that you kind of understand how to do it, I'm just going to kind of do it on my own here real quick, so I can kind of blow through it with the. Because frankly, I've done this 3 times since the upgrade. So, be back in a moment. Oh, something I should mention for everybody. The scribing tools have the progress bars here. Again, these do not break, but you can't use them once they run out. However, to refill them, you just craft them with some sort of black dye, usually an ink sac from the squid. But there are other options depending on what mods you have too. So, be back shortly, YouTube. So, let's take a look at our Thumbonomicon again. YouTube, I'm going to bring you back now so you can see kind of what we just unlocked. We just did 2 researches here. Advanced aura tapping. What this means is now whenever the wand is inside my hotbar, it doesn't matter if it's active or not, it's going to start gaining aura, and it's going to do it at double the normal rate. Notice how my wand is not in my bar because that will draw aura faster and possibly start killing off your nodes. Unlikely, but possible. So I'm going to get the Aura Preserver, which will help that, and then Master of Aura Tapping, which will help us drain even faster. But this one I'll do first, that way I don't kill off nodes at all. The other one I got is Research Mastery. Notice how, like I said, this one makes us go slightly insane, so I did get a small bit of insanity with that. Research Mastery basically makes us even more proficient in performing research. Whenever you remove the aspects that I placed on the hex, I now gain a 50% chance of getting that research point back. That is very useful for when I make mistakes. Additionally, whenever there's a 10% chance whenever I place an aspect that it will not cost you any research to do so. And lastly, you'll be able to combine aspects with shift clicking. Okay, so what that means, let me get out Aura Preserver here first. What that means is if I drag one over here, there is a 50% chance, or sorry, there's a 10% chance it won't cost me anything, whatever the aspect is. If I click one of these because I made a mistake and bring it back here, there's a 50% chance I'll get it back. And if there is one, like pre-mutatio, it's not a good idea. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I can't shift click these ones, but if I did air and that, I can now shift click on pre-mutatio and it will automatically combine them even if these are not in here. So let me do a little bit more work here. Okay. Let me do a little bit more work here, YouTube, and I'll be right back. Welcome back, YouTube. I just did a mass research there about I want to say 8 different recipes. Something I was just explaining is every time you complete one of these mini games, you gain a certain amount of XP. And there has been times where I go into one of these and I can't afford any one of these. So I'll go and do some other research. And by the time I'm finished, I'll come back to these and I can probably afford all 3. Admittedly, you only get a small amount of XP per research, so you probably need to do a lot of research to do that. But as you can see by every gold star here, it's not that hard to do the research. All these gold stars are ones I have not read yet. So, starting with the important ones, Aura Preserver. You are now instinctively able to stop wands and other carried devices from draining these out of local aura to help if they drop low. That also helps stop the buildup of flux. This only applies to tools and devices you carry, so if I have some way of charging things that's not on me, then this does not apply. They will still build up flux, and I think they can still kill a node. All your V's are belong to us. Again, 50 points so you get the reference. You have added further refinements to the methods used to refine aura. You are now able to draw these 3 times faster than normal. So, keep in mind that my wand has been in my inventory but not on my hotbar. If I change that, look at how fast that's going up now. And full. Oh no, I'm sorry, they're up to 100 now, sorry. I forgot about that. Oh, something else to keep in mind. See, that's the capacity of 100 and 150 average V's cost. And that's because this is iron cap and wooden. I don't think I unlocked. Oh yeah, I unlocked it. So if I go to the Great Wood wand, I find that I can make a wand now out of Great Wood. I just need 2 logs, and these the Great Wood has 250 V's of each type. And if I go over to Gold Wand, I can now make the Gold Wand caps. Keep in mind I couldn't do that before because I did need to have the aspects from the wand, my other wand. But these ones suffer no penalty. So what that means is if I look at this here, it has a capacity of 100 because it's wooden, and it has 110% average use cost. So this is the lowest capacity you can get and the highest penalty you can get because this is such a basic wand. If I use the Great Wood, I would have 250, and I'd still have the 110% unless I had gold caps. Or on the reverse of that, I could have the normal wooden wand and still have the 100% with the gold caps. They're interchangeable. You don't need to mix them in the exact order, but it does help. So that was a bit of unnecessary draw, but oh well. Now there are a couple more wand caps down here that are slightly more effective. There are other wand types over here too. There's also wand foci, which we'll probably be getting to next episode. Now, we studied magic tallow. Tallow, I can just put a bit of fire into a cauldron, which I haven't shown you that yet. I'll have to get to that next episode. And toss in some rotten flesh, and that will make the tallow, which you can use for a couple of things actually, but the only one we know how to use it for right now is to make candles. That very important? No, not really, but it does give us access to these, which I like the entropic processing myself, the alchemical duplication, and can I get this one? No, not yet. Entropic processing means that I can throw a little bit of entropy into a cauldron, and a bone normally gives you 3 bone meal, but this way I get 4. I can do the same thing with the blaze rod. I can use zombie flesh and the fire and entropy to get some leather. I can throw some wood into some string, which is there's no other way of manufacturing string in this pack at the moment. Dirt to get mycelium. Keep in mind, mycelium is a good way to get mushrooms, but unless you're in a mushroom biome, it does not mean that you'll stop spawning. So, yeah. Useful, not game-breaking. The other thing was alchemical duplication, which means that if I put in the right aspects, gunpowder is actually made out of fire and ignis. Ignis and entropy. So if I toss in a gunpowder, I get 2 back out. Same with slime, and same with glowstone. Ink sacs, prismatic crystals, and prismine shards. I particularly like the glowstone recipe for that because I hate going into the nether. Now what else do we get? We got nitor. Nitor is probably going to be one I show you with the cauldron. But it kind of acts like a magical torch. I'll have to get some glowstone dust from somewhere. But throw in these aspects, toss in glowstone, and you get nitor. And nitor can be dyed to act as different colors, but it just floats up there like a torch. It provides light. I could even, put it right here on this pedestal, get rid of this pedestal, and it'll still float there, giving off light. The other reason it's really nice is the cauldron needs a source of fire below it. Well, source of heat, which could be either a torch, lava, or it can be this niter. And niter doesn't start other things on fire, so it's kind of the general safe choice. And that will partially be getting into the alchemy here, but we'll also be using it for the other things here, I think. Then we got metal metallurgy, which metals have been proven quite easy, yada yada yada. I'll let you go ahead and read that because, frankly, my throat's getting dry. But the basic version is this lets us make 2 different magical metals. The first is thaumium, which is unique because I think it's a little bit more durable than iron, and it's a little bit more enchantable than gold. Remember that gold and tools are actually less durable than iron. So that's a real good in-between step between metal and diamonds. I don't think it is as hard or as enchantable as a diamond pickaxe, though. But there will be other uses for it later. And the other one is alchemical brass. I don't think you can do much with alchemical brass as far as the main game is concerned, but we do use it to make gears and plates, and that will come into account later on. And like I said, you can make thaumium items, so thaumium sword is better than iron, more enchantable, so on and so forth. And there's also thaumium armor. Personally, I honestly like the thaumium armor probably better than I like, diamond and metal, but that's just because it, looked a little bit more personable than just a solid block of blue or gray. And then we got aluminum. Aluminum is one of those things you kind of have to be careful with. It throws at the binary energy and is more than eager to release itself at the slightest bump. It may be unstable, but it's a good source of fuel. Probably not a good idea to throw it against a solid surface unless you enjoy explosions. Short version. What this is kind of like a refined fuel. If you throw in coal or charcoal into these ingredients here, you get aluminum. And coal and charcoal, as I mentioned earlier, makes 8 items, or smelts 8 items. Last I checked, aluminum makes 32, so that's like 4, that's basically half a stack of items. The other thing you need to know is aluminum has 2 different ways of throwing it. One with Q, which is the normal way of dropping items, that's safe. But if you right click, you will chuck it, and it will go off like TNT. So be careful with that. Now, I think that's all the new research we got. Keep in mind, we don't really have a whole lot done yet. We still have the hidden research there, and we only scratched the surface of thaumaturgy and alchemy. We didn't really get into artifice at all, which is unfortunate because that's kind of a fun one. But you'll find that thaumaturgy is all about your wands, recharging them, ways of preserving the aura, new wand rods, or cores I should say, caps, and these are the wand foci, and what that does is you can put a foci on the tip of your wand, and it loses energy from the top left there, but depending on what wand focus you have, you might be shooting fireballs or lasers. You can even mind it with your wand. There's all sorts of different options. Excuse me. All sorts of different options. Like I said, alchemy is kind of your manufacturing tab all around, either through duplication, transmutation. This is how you will get the magical essences you'll need to make other stuff. Then alchemy is kind of where that other magical stuff comes in. This is the blocks that you will place in the world and the ones that will do things. You got magical armors, you got magical rings and amulets, some magical tools. Yeah, all this stuff is stuff you'll be able to build in the world, but a lot of it you need the stuff you need from this branch first. So I think that will be our primary focus when we get a chance. I was really hoping the smeltery was going to work, because if I could use that other, 16 gold that's in there, we would have been able to start into blood magic. Because in order to really get started, we need. Wait a minute, no, we don't need blood magic or we don't need gold to get started into that. What we need is the rudimentary snare, which means we need redstone. We had a thing of redstone down there, so give me just a moment. And if nothing else, we can get started on that. We won't be able to get very far this episode because I've been at this for nearly 3 hours, but we can get a start. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the iron pick with me, but I'm also going to keep the Tinker's one, because there could be an update that goes through and providing our world doesn't get reset or something like that. I might be able to either fix the smeltery, or if I can get a diamond with the metal pick, I can put a diamond on the stone pick, and it will start being able to mine as though it was a diamond pickaxe. not as durable, but I'll still be able to repair it that way. So it's kind of the plan right now. I suppose this is kind of the downside of building into the side of the mountain up here, is because I have to further to climb up. Maybe I'll make some stairs. Yeah, I noted there was a glitch with this earlier. Maybe that's the problem? Couldn't be that simple, could it? I'm going to kick myself if that is the problem. I was going to check out the redstone here. We will use redstone, as always, is important in most mods, so we'll use that a lot in Blood Magic. I don't think we use that a whole lot in Thaumcraft. I think that's about the only thing we have. But there are other mods in the pack that we aren't focusing as heavily on, and redstone is still going to be used for all of them. Will be important if we actually do get into Buildcraft, though. Buildcraft or Computer Craft, both of those could be fun to use. But let me check this. Like I said, the problem was the lack of lava. Yeah, no. Okay, so not the lack of lava. Yeah, I'm kind of afraid. Part of me says that maybe if I got this started again, it might do something, but I'm kind of... I got enough iron. I can spare one. While that's heating up, let's do the snare. Oh, I need more string for that. Which I don't see any I don't see any spiders around. We'll have to see. It is melting. Yeah. Oh. Okay, so the smelter is broke. That's unfortunate, but what can you do? So like I said, we'll see if we can get a diamond, and we'll upgrade this as much as we can. We still won't be able to get anything beyond that, unfortunately, because the other metal still requires the the smeltery to form properly. But on the other hand, we will have basically a diamond pickaxe that we can repair with cobblestone. So, and then I think we will try to get some string next time, and try to get going on Blood Magic. So I'll talk to all you guys later. Have a good time, and well, don't get eaten by the zombies out there. See ya.